some things about productivity and AI agents and that. Maybe it was a couple weeks ago, but this is an interesting article from Ethan Mollick. This is real AI agents and real work, and I think it's off of a Substack or something like that. This is the race between human-centered work and infinite PowerPoints. So this is about kind of the thing about, replacing workers with agents and things like that. And I think he's done we did another article that he wrote about similar to this on thinking about, how easy is it to replace people with agents. And so that's kind of the idea here. He starts off saying AIs have quietly crossed a threshold. They can now perform real economically relevant work. Last week, OpenAI released a new test of AI ability, but this one differs from the usual benchmarks built around math or trivia. For this test, OpenAI gathered experts with an average of 14 years of experience in industries ranging from finance to law to retail and had them design realistic tasks that would take a human expert an average of 4 to 7 hours to complete. You can see all the tasks here. He has a link to the task list. OpenAI then had both AI and other experts do the tasks themselves. A third group of experts graded the results, not knowing which answers came from the AI and which came from the human, a process which took about an hour per question. And so this is an example task where you have these different types of tasks for doing business strategy and other things like that. I think these are all legal topics, so like they have a paralegal or a lawyer preparing sort of different types of forms and things like that. And so and then they had the AI doing it. And so then they had these different AI models, so ranging from GPT-4o to Grok 4 to Gemini 2.5 Pro to O4 Mini High model to O3 High to GPT-5 High to Claude Opus 4.1 with their win rate percentage. And then this is 50% is parity with industry expert. So Claude Opus is coming close to the industry expert. And then that's like in the best case scenario. So human experts won, but barely, and the margins vary dramatically by industry. Yet AI is improving fast, with the more recent AI models scoring much higher than older ones. Interestingly, the major reason for AI losing to humans was not hallucinations and errors, but a failure to format results well or follow instructions exactly, areas of rapid improvement. If the current patterns hold, the next generation of AI models should beat human experts on average in this test. Does that mean that AI is ready to replace human jobs? So we have all these different things that they tested. So human experts versus models, first line supervisors of production and operating workers, industrial engineers, mechanical engineers, shipping, receiving, and inventory clerks, software developers, project management specialists, lawyers, computer and information systems managers, financial managers, medical secretaries, nurse practitioners, registered nurses, personal financial advisors, securities, commodities, and financial services, sales agents. So these are all kind of just some of them are, the models are above human expert level. Some of them don't really meet anywhere close to human expert level. And then the tests that they give them are, I don't know how accurate those reflect the actual day-to-day work that these professionals are doing. But they gave, in any case, this is the benchmark. So his conclusion here is that no, at least not soon, in terms of AI replacing human experts. No, at least not soon, because what was being measured was not jobs but tasks. So this is what I mean, that you have these benchmarks, they don't necessarily reflect the day-to-day work that the experts are doing or the knowledge that they're employing. So our job consists of many tasks. My job as a professor is not just one thing. It involves teaching, researching, writing, filling out annual reports, supporting my students, reading, administrative work, and more. AI doing one or more of these tasks does not replace my entire job, it shifts what I do. And it cannot substitute for all the complexities of my job. I gave the new Claude Sonnet 4.5, to which I had early access, the text of a sophisticated economics paper involving a number of experiments, along with the archive of all the replication data. I did not do anything other than give Claude the files and prompts that say replicate the findings in this paper from the data set they uploaded. You need to do this yourself. If you cannot attempt a full replication, do what you can. And because it involved complex statistics, I asked it to go further. Can you also replicate the full interactions as much as possible? And so this is where you're getting into these sort of how Claude is going to sort of reproduce this task. So without further instruction, Claude read the paper, opened up the archive, sorted through the files, converted the statistical code from one language, Stata, to another, Python, and methodically went through all the findings before reporting a successful reproduction. I spot checked the results and had another AI model, GPT-5 Pro, reproduce the reproduction. It all checked out. I tried this on several other papers with similarly good results, though some were inaccessible due to the file size limitations or issues with the replication data provided. Doing this manually would have taken many hours. So it cuts down on the amount of time doing these kind of rote tasks, and its accuracy is pretty decent. But the revolutionary part is not how I saved a lot of time. It is that a crisis that has shaken entire academic fields could be partially resolved with reproduction, but doing so requires painstaking and expensive human effort that was impossible to do at scale. Now it appears that AI could check many published papers, reproducing results, with implications for all of scientific research. There are still barriers to doing this, including benchmarking for accuracy and fairness, but it is now a real possibility. Reproducing research may be an AI task and not a job, but it might also change an entire field of human endeavor dramatically. So this is possible because AI agents have gotten much better very quickly. So again, agents, generative AI agents, have helped a lot of people do tasks since the original ChatGPT, but the limit was always a human user. AI makes mistakes and errors, so without a human guiding it on each step, nothing valuable could be accomplished. The dream of autonomous AI agents, which, when given a task, can plan and use tools to accomplishment, seemed far away. After all, AI makes mistakes, so one failure in a long chain of steps that an agent has to follow to accomplish a task would result in overall failure. So, however, this is not how things worked out, and another new paper explains why. Maybe we'll get to that paper in a minute here. It turns out that most of our assumptions about AI agents were wrong. Even small increases in accuracy and new models are much less prone to errors, leads to huge increases in the number of tasks an AI can do. And the biggest and latest thinking models are actually self-correcting, so they don't get stopped by errors. All this means that AI agents can accomplish far more steps than they could before and can use tools which basically include anything your computer can do without substantial human intervention. So this is a graphic that says 4 reasons why agents are suddenly viable. The first is that thinking enables execution of long tasks in a single turn. So this is task length in terms of steps. And then these are the different models. So GPT-5 has a task length of like 1,000 steps. Claude 4 Sonnet goes up to like 470 or 480. Grok 4 goes up to like 250. And then you see a decrease over the other models. But you have this sort of, I guess there's no thinking, chain of thought and thinking. So this is kind of showing this, how this is implemented in different models. The second point is that larger models are more prone to self-conditioning. So you have this turn 100 accuracy on the y-axis, number of parameters. So as you go up to 32 billion parameters, you have 0 errors in context in green and 50% errors in context in pink, and you can see that there are these fewer errors in context in the 32 billion parameter model, and more 0% errors in context for that 32 billion parameter model. So as you're increasing the number of parameters, your 0 errors in context is going up, and then your 50% errors in context is also going up from the 4 billion to the 14 billion parameter model, but for the 32 billion parameter model, it drops. And then the third point is diminishing gains on a single step can lead to exponential gains over a long horizon. And then this shows kind of step accuracy for model release dates. So step accuracy is improving. And then task length is also improving dramatically over time. And then the fourth thing is scaling model size enables the execution of longer tasks. So we have task length on the y-axis, model size in terms of billions of parameters on the x-axis. And as we move towards 30 million parameter models, our task lengths get longer. And so they can encode more steps and they can do self-correction and things like that. So this is interesting that the one of the few measures of AI ability that covers the full range of AI models in the past few years, from GPT-3 to GPT-5, is Metter's test, which is from measuring AI ability to complete long tasks. Metter's test of the length of tasks that AI can accomplish alone with at least 50% accuracy. The exponential gains from GPT-3 to GPT-5 are very consistent over 5 years, showing the ongoing improvement in agentic work. And so this is a time horizon. This is for Metter. Time horizon of software engineering tasks differ for different large language models, can complete 50% of the time. So this is where you can look at sort of these this time. So the task duration for humans in terms of time, 30 minutes to 2 hours, and then these specific tasks and context. So, for example, training a classifier will take a human just under an hour, or finding a fact on the web will take about 10 minutes, or fixing a bug in a small Python library will take around an hour and 15 minutes. Scraping a record from a website with anti-bot protection will take about an hour and 45 minutes. So those are the human tasks and their duration. And then, the idea is that this green dotted line is sort of the trend for all these models. And the models here, the sort of the dots for these models shows when the model can perform that task correctly at least 50% of the time. So you see that as over time, that goes from almost no human tasks to these tasks that take a little over 2 hours. And again, these are all kind of, we can do a lot of things like in 2 hours, and it's like that's kind of a arbitrary time window, because you could write a song in 2 hours, or you could write a song in 10 hours, or you could do a lot of things in 2 hours that aren't, say, as computationally easy as some of the tasks they list here. They're really listing things like, code maintenance or something like that. So this is not like, and then like finding a fact on the web is interesting, because like finding a fact is pretty subjective, depending on the fact and depending on the person, I guess. So yeah, this is all kind of just giving some context to these benchmarks. But again, the point is that these models are performing better in terms of like being able to do complex tasks, let's just say. They had some activity here in the chat.
I'm just writing in the chat.
Oh, yeah.
When you're done, I'm just making notes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, yeah. So back to this. So how to use the AI to economically valuable things. So agents, however, don't have true agency in the human sense. For now, we need to decide what to do with them, and that will determine a lot about the future of work. The risk everyone focuses on is using AI to replace human labor, and it is not hard to see this becoming a major concern in the coming years, especially for unimaginative organizations that focused on cost cutting rather than using these new capabilities to expand or transform work. So yesterday I gave my term, every term I give a automation lecture in my project management course, and I was making this point yesterday quite forcefully that there is this aspect of how you implement automation. Do you implement it just for cost cutting, or do you implement it for some sort of synergy, or really thinking about what you can get productively out of automation? And a lot of times when you just implement it for cost cutting, you end up spending more later to fix things or to um, kind of figure out exactly the use case you want. So, this is an important point about like replacing people with machines is that with AI systems or with other types of automation, sometimes we just kind of throw automation at problems and try to hope they go away. And that's not the way that, responsible organizations should behave. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, technical.
Oh, yeah.
Everything you were saying.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's fine.
Mike's very loud.
But there is a second very likely risk about using AI at work, using agents to do more of the tasks we do now, unthinkingly. So as a preview of this particular nightmare, I gave Claude a corporate memo and asked it to turn it into a PowerPoint. And then another PowerPoint from a different perspective, and another one. So the nightmare of the PowerPoints, basically, which is bad enough, but then when AI is doing it, So this is the PowerPoint mega collection. You now have 17 unique PowerPoint presentations covering every angle of your AI transformation strategy. This is your complete PowerPoint arsenal. It sounds like hell. So you get 17 different PowerPoints using the strategy, all different sorts of like corporate speak and different types of takes on it. This is too many PowerPoints. So this is like I want to take on X or something or on Blue Sky, and I get it not because I asked for it, but because people are offering it to me. So yeah, this is not really. We don't want all of this sort of stuff. We just want like maybe one thing, or we don't want to waste a lot of time, or we don't want to generate a lot of things that are kind of mindless. So if we don't think hard about why we are doing work and what work should look like, we are going to drown in a wave of AI content. What is the alternative? The OpenAI paper suggested that experts can work with AI to solve problems by delegating a task to an AI as a first pass and reviewing the work. If it isn't good enough, they should try a couple of attempts to give corrections or better instructions. If that doesn't work, they should just do the work themselves. If experts follow this workflow, the paper estimates that they would get work done 40% faster and 60% cheaper, and even more importantly, retain control over the AI. Agents are here, they can do real work. It is valuable and increasing, but the same technology that can replicate academic papers in minutes can also generate 17 versions of a PowerPoint deck that nobody needs. The difference between these features isn't in the AI, it's how we choose to use it. By using our judgment and deciding what's worth doing, not just what can be done, we can ensure these tools make us more capable, not just more productive. Okay, so that's good. Now, I have a bone to pick about this particular point about the PowerPoints, is that nominally we don't need 17 versions of a PowerPoint deck. We also don't need 1,000 different takes on some event. But the thing is that that's cultural production. That's actually what we get when we have something that happens and then we want to know what the meaning is, or we want to have like we want to kind of say we want to measure the zeitgeist of a recent event. And we go to social media to do it. So we go and we look at the different posts and we get a collection of posts, and they're all different. Sometimes they converge upon the same take. I think you know what I'm getting at. And then, sometimes they're different takes. We could classify those takes into like, different ways of viewing an event, different things people focus on, et cetera, et cetera. And that's like kind of part of cultural production. I mean, we kind of unpack things and there's multiple layers of meaning and things. And, when you see 17 versions of a PowerPoint deck, you think, well, that's overworking and that's overproduction. But really, that's important for sort of cultural production because, you need to have all of those different takes to fully understand the significance of something. And so maybe not in terms of overproducing PowerPoint decks, which no one needs, but in producing different takes on things or different perspectives on things, that could be useful. So I just wanted to make that point. It's not directly relevant to the comparison he was making, but it is worth thinking about.